Today's passage is from the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 20 to 39. This is a terrific story, one of the best in the Old Testament, the most exciting and dramatic, and building up to the most wonderful climax with great narrative skill in piling on the tension. In the old days, when teaching RE meant teaching a lot of Bible stories, I used to really love teaching this one. Everyone loves a good story, and when the baddies get their comeuppance in the end, all the better. Elijah stages a contest between the gods, a demo. The odds are stacked high against him, since he is alone and the Baal prophets number hundreds. Then he soaks his offering in water, but theirs is dry. He prays once, but they struggle for hours to get their God to respond. The narrator describes the Baal prophets limping about the altar, and Elijah mocks them with cutting sarcasm. "Shout louder. Why don't you? Louder? Maybe he's fallen asleep, or he's gone off for a wander somewhere," making the Baal god sound like an irresponsible child. So they cut themselves and shed their blood and raved on for hours, but to no avail. Then the simple sanity of Elijah's procedure is highlighted by those crazy antics before. He tells the people to come and pour water over the sacrifice 3 times. Then he prays in 2 simple sentences. The fire from heaven descends from the Lord and consumes his sacrifice, the altar, evaporating all the water. The people are duly impressed and fall down in worship. Last Sunday, we celebrated Pentecost, the feast of the Holy Spirit, when the Holy Spirit came to the apostles in wind and fire, transforming them into courageous, faithful witnesses to the gospel. It was extraordinary how the power of God was channeled through them, just as it had been of old through Elijah. Thousands were baptized that day, according to Acts. A great kick-start to the church, as it were. You might think, it would be natural to think, that after an experience like this, those involved or the witnesses would be never the same again, that life would be totally different for them afterwards, after that great uplift. But this isn't really how it works. Even the great prophet Elijah plunged off this hilltop of spirituality into a slough of depression, even despair. And of course the church, as we know, has not lived up to its wonderful start. But this is simply true to life, isn't it? We know that after great excitement, we often slip down, perhaps in reaction to gloom or anxiety or sadness. Perhaps it's simply exhaustion. That means we can't maintain that sense of excitement for very long. We need an emotional rest. Anyway, our moods go up and down for all sorts of trivial reasons, even diet or digestion or sleep patterns. That's why it's usually a mistake to measure our spiritual health by our emotions. I mean, for example, to think I'm only close to God if I feel close to God. If I don't feel close to God, then there's something wrong with my faith. Not at all. Faith is a decision, a commitment, not a feeling. Sometimes it makes us feel good, and hopefully that happens at great feasts like Pentecost, but that's not guaranteed. And although it's nice when we feel good in worship, that's not the main event, more icing on the cake, as it were. When Elijah hit rock bottom, what God did about it was to give him food, drink, rest, and a job to do. Or several, actually. Go and do something useful, Elijah. Get on with the job. It was very good advice.